Who wants to find out what I found down the market then? Oh yeah, found a whole bunch of Matchbox. Let's have a look, shall we? Okay, I thought I'd start today's video, Haulamania video, with looking at the oldest stuff that I found this month. They're all Matchbox pieces, so sit back and enjoy. Now this is a 1956 or thereabouts piece from series 1 of the Models of Yesteryear. And the Models of Yesteryears was developed as an adult version of the 1 to 75 range, and originally consisted of only 16 models. But of course during the 70s and 80s that range was expanded somewhat and greatly enjoyed. So this first piece, well, what is it called? It is a, very hard to see, Lesney, England on the bottom there, and if you look very deeply within there, you will see the number. I think it's what says Y4, and it's a 1928, believe it or not, steam wagon. There's the Sentinel. Really nicely modelled actually. As you can see the little steam boiler and burner and the chimney all kicking away on the top there. Of course this piece isn't in particularly good condition. It cost me the princely sum of £3. I thought it was pretty well worth it though, given the age and the gravity of the situation. So there we go, that is the Sentinel. Another model of yesteryear from series 1 again. This is the 4-ton Leyland truck. Look around the vehicle there. This is a 1918 vehicle. Doesn't appear to be steam powered in any way, but I really like the attention to detail on these old yesteryear models. See, it's number 7. Looks a little bit newer than the steam truck, only because it's got more information on the base there, but would have been released in the same time frame as that Sentinel. Brilliant. It's considered by some to be rare, funnily enough, but the thing about models of yesteryear was they were produced in large quantities along with their 1 to 75 siblings, so there isn't really particularly any overly rare pieces. So as you find something in very, very good condition, then that's going to be the rare situation. So there we have the Leyland truck. Up, a piece that I know that you probably all saw in one of my videos previously. I was at the stall at the market. In fact, I bought all of these basically from the market. Is this piece here? It's one of my favourite 1 to 75s. This is from around about 1964-65. This is the, there we go, the MG 1100, number 64. As you can see, it's quite, it's been played with, but its overall condition isn't too bad. Those windscreens just need a bit of a polish if you were going to restore this one. And my friend Mark, or Can-Am Customs, or Mark Raven as we like to call him here on the K5 channel, he did me a beautiful restoration. See that it has originally a white interior with a little dog sitting in there. This is nice actually, in its original green colour. Amazing detail on these old Lesneys. Absolutely fantastically well crafted. Beautiful. And it's even got still got a bit of suspension there. It's only right and fitting to show the GT40. I've been looking for one of these with tyres for ages, and this one has actually got a full set of tyres, although one tyre is a little bit nibbled. You can get these tyres from online from various spares people, This has a black base, no steering or anything like that. Modicum of suspension. Overall condition is pretty rough, of course, but it was found in amongst a load of other toys. It didn't cost me an awful lot of money. All of these really cost me about 50p each. Here we see the super fast version, and it is these are pieces that I collect, these transition super fast pieces in particular over other pieces. And another little variation on this one is this version here with a slightly darker number 6 stripe. There are many variations. I think there's a gloss base, matte base, and multiple versions of different color bases on that as well. So it's an interesting piece if you wanted to collect lots of variations, if that's what you're into. Personally, I'm just happy to have some tyres. Probably might stick these tyres on the Dark 6. I prefer the Dark 6. Lovely Cougar. Now, the Cougar was perhaps one of Matchbox's best ever selling cars that they ever produced. And again, this is another transition model. Saw service right through from its inception in around about, let's have a look, what does it say on the base there? Not a lot, of course, no year in these days. This is the original from around about 1968. As you can see, it's got the lovely disc wheels and tyres on the base there. It also has a bit of steering going on, which is always cool. And being one of the most popular models in the Matchbox lineup at the time, in 1968-69, Matchbox really needed to carry it over and give us this piece here with its lovely superfast wheels. You can tell it's an early superfast as well because it has the skinny wheels over the fat wheels. I believe that over 30,000 of these units were sold worldwide. So again, it's not a particularly rare piece, but another thing that, you know, when you're looking for a car, try and get one in as good a condition as possible. And this is one of its main colours, is this green. And it survived obviously right through from its original to its transition. Transition piece that I picked up is this. On my first realization of this vehicle when I saw it, I thought it had a repaint. But when you're looking at repaints, you're looking at lots of overpainting, and there doesn't appear to be any overpainting whatsoever on this vehicle. Yes, it's chipped. It was very dirty. I cleaned it up and it came out very nicely. It does appear to have very thick paint though, and that to some extent has given it the impression that it has been overpainted at some point. But in my experience, white is a very hard colour to replicate. There appears to be many different shades of whites, and this is an almost off-white colour. It is very bright, but it's not obvious white. It's not like I don't know, Snow White or something. It's almost I don't know. It's just white. Sports white or racing white or something. Lovely little model again. Opening doors, little windscreen there. And the tricky thing about this piece, what number we got here? Number 27. The tricky thing about this piece is finding one with the windscreen still. But very, very happy to have this piece in my collection at last, as it did see some transition. So that is cool. Maybe one day I'll pick up the one without, well, little black wheels. Very similar to these wheels you would have seen on here. There we go. Very nice piece to have. I do believe Mark did a brilliant customization on one of these a few hauls ago, and this is the Lamborghini Marzal It's my first Marzal. You can see there it's got the 69 logo, which means that this was released in 70 and was actually one of the first Matchbox superfast cars specifically designed as a superfast car. Brilliant. Fantastic colour as well. I kind of like it in its original state. I know most people would, but I also like what Mark did to it too. He really captured some of the details. Beautiful. Being a bit of a Lamborghini month this month. Wow. Right, here's an interesting piece. Totally out of scale with everything else, but I thought interesting to show because this is a super fast, well, Super King 1971 Matchbox vehicle. And when I was a kid, these vehicles, we used to call them the big cars, because obviously if you compare it to a Matchbox car, it is big. But these would have been played with separately from my little cars, and we used to play with the big cars. You know, we'd have a big car game and a little car game. The little car games were obviously with a lot more cars. But this is quite an interesting piece. As you can see, it's all here. Okay, it's a bit worn out, a little bit played with, but it's got all its stickers. It's number 35. See that special Joe 90 writing on there. Team Matchbox on there, look at that. And I'm guessing this is modelled after a BRM of some sort. Just has the lines of an old BRM from around about the 70s, well, early 70s, 1970 to be precise. Look on the base, doesn't tell you what it is until you get to the back there and it tells you it's called the Lightning. Look at those big old super fast wheels, they're just awesome. Wow. And the driver's got some nice detail too. I'm guessing that this is probably around about 135 scale as opposed to the 143. Okay, next up we're going to go all the way from 1971, we're going to go to 1973, and I found one of these. I was just thinking the other day, I sent one of these off to Japan, off to Cozy, and then I noticed Mark had one. I was thinking, oh, I used to have one of those green shiny ones, and lo and behold, I get one for 50p. So it's a little bit tatty compared to some, but it's all here. And of course, as you would know, these by now, it's got this going on. Woohoo! Yes, it's a Haulamania, and it's called the Weasel, number 73 from 1973. Well, we're moving through the times now, and I had to pick up this. I haven't seen one of these in ages. This is a model Ford A. I think this is the original livery for this. It looks a little bit Christmassy though. Here we go, 1979, made in Macau. Possibly not the actual original, but still an interesting colour scheme nonetheless. Haul, it had to be a taxi, and this is from the international period, so we moved right through time. 1986, 160 scale, a lovely London taxi with a big old flag on the side. I think there's possibly a first release of this, but I'm not 100%. I do just pick up taxis when I see them. They're just out there. You just can grab a taxi whenever you want. I was at a car boot sale the other day and picked up this. It's it's got a bit crinkly actually. This is a funny old piece. This is celebrating Matchbox 50th. London taxi. Now here's the anomaly. Who can spot it before I say it? Ooh, we're gonna have a look at the back. Now in this series, on the 50th year of Matchbox, celebrational, we had the Fire Saver, the taxi, the VW62 and the Ford Model A, and they all sported what can only be described as probably the most horrendous paint scheme I've ever seen. Okay, and on to the anomaly. Yes, the 1952 to 2002. Now, this year we're celebrating 65 years of Matchbox, and that 52 adds an extra year, doesn't it? Yeah, we all know Matchbox started in 1953. I'm going to open this one up, and I'm going to celebrate the 65 years by opening up at this very, very sad, lonely 50-year piece. So here we go. It's been stuck in this box for all that time. Now in England, this is what we got to celebrate our 50 years of Matchbox, given that it was originally an English company and all the rest of it. Mattel saw fit to add an extra year to the life of Matchbox, so it didn't interfere with the 35th anniversary of Hot Wheels. In America, to celebrate the 50 years of Matchbox, they had all the different state cars. They had buses travelling around the country, and yes, it was a general massive celebration. In England, we had these 4 very sad little cars. But anyway, there she is. She's still got all her functionality. There, it's got all its little doors on there and everything. So for me, this is a lovely little piece, and definitely it's going to be in my collection. There we go. Mattel, 1986. Actually, let's have a little comparison. There you go. It's basically the same. We just flipped the old the stamp on the base. Brilliant.
Makes Matchbox Superfast cars so special? Well, indeed, what makes Matchbox cars so special? Well, this year it's because it's 65 years old, as denoted by this little badge here. Yes, happy birthday, Matchbox. It's a funny one to celebrate, 65 years, but especially as you celebrated your 60th anniversary not that long ago, 5 years ago. But yeah, I thought I'd take this opportunity to go through some of the models that I've got, spanning through the ages and ones that I particularly like. So, blink and you miss it. Well, I just added a few models in there which I'd forgot to put in. Yeah, it was an opportunity to really have a look through the models that I've got that I think illustrate certain things about the history of the brand. And I will start with this little one here, which is one of the oldest ones I've got, the Austin Taxi, which dates from around about 1960 and has grey plastic wheels. They were grey plastic because they are imitating the metal wheels that were on the first Matchbox cars. So they had cast metal wheels. So this was, you know, just to, I think, I don't know the reasons for doing it, but you know, it was transitioning from one to the other. So we moved from something like that to this, which is a Fiat from the early 60s, and you've gone to a solid black plastic wheel. Nice little load on top, a bit much like some of the models that Matchbox are doing at the moment with loads on the top. We then move on to these two-piece wheels, which I think these wheels and this particular model are a very defining moment for Matchbox. One, these wheels are particularly attractive, and they also have a certain similarity with these wheels that Matchbox have done in the last 10 years or so. If you can see, there is some similarities there. A solid disc, and they work on everything. So this model, the Isso Grifo, which is dates from around about 1967-8. That's a transition model, so this went to Matchbox Superfast, but it's a particularly nice model. The level of detailing, you've got some nice grid work, grill work on the side there. You've also got that going on the back. Lovely colour, you know, opening features. It has suspension, which I think is a plastic bar, but extremely well done, and I think that that's one of the finest models that Matchbox did at this scale. No apologies, you know, it is what it is. So interesting enough, you then go into a period that's very different after that. But I'll just point out this Jaguar, just so we can see the illustration of the box. I don't have any really old Matchbox boxes, but they were very different and they were very much like Matchboxes. But you see, you have these blue panels which were on the original ones. There's the model, but very matter of fact. This is the car, this is the number of it. You know, here's the side view. It opens, bonnet. You know, quite staid. And so when you move into the super fast period, everything's going a bit mad. You know, it's not just a car anymore, it's what it can do. It goes really fast. This is the Mod Rod, one of my favourite Matchbox ever. I think I did have it as a kid, but I think I smashed it up. And the most favourite version of that is the one with the red wheels, which didn't hang around for too long. But you'll notice it's got a different cat on the front. So you've got what appears to be a cougar on this side and a leopard on that side. Other little ones that I'm particularly fond of, the Tanzara. This is interesting because it was based on the British Leyland Xander, which is a concept car from 1969, but they then made changes to it so it became a sort of fantasy car. But it shows you that period in which Matchbox went from producing very accurate models into more toy-like things which were dependent on colour and speed and stuff, which is what they thought the kids wanted, and it was up against Hot Wheels. We move there to another transition period, which is the Haulamatics. As you can see there, you had a little thing on there that would then hit against a clockwork part, or a cog, and this would then turn as you moved it along, much like you can't see it because you need a good space to do it, but it does. Did a whole series of these, probably about 12 over I would imagine something like a 5 to 6 year time period. Again, another one that illustrates just how mad things became in the 70s. We've got a dragster tractor, a hot rod dragster. Insane. You've got an exhaust, the amount of heat coming out of that would have just melted the tyre away, but it was all to do with colour and speed and fun, and it hits those points perfectly, and I love it all the same. If that came out now, I probably would hate it, but it's because it's very much associated with my childhood. This one is a bit out of context actually, but it's a respray that I did on the Lotus that they produced in the mid-60s. I'll just chuck it in there because it's one of my favourite ones. Nice rendition, very, very simple, but very successful in its simplicity. Where are we going to go to next? Well, let's look at the dying days of Lesney's ownership. Okay, this is in the late 70s, early 80s, and you see we've gone from having fast cars to static cars very much in the way that we had back then. So things went a bit full circle as the speed thing sort of dropped off and they went back to producing things a bit more accurate. This is the Rover SD1, or 3500 it says on the box. Again, here we go, moving across to the period of transition. These were using up old castings from the 70s, and this is in the period when Matchbox International was around, 86. I haven't opened this one. I could go into the detail of that car, but it'll take up time. Then we have another box transition. This is when they went from these boxes, picture boxes, to these window boxes, which a lot of collectors mourned that passing, but allowed kids to see the models, and they were more adaptable because you could hang them on hooks. So it was more a marketing requirement. This is in fact actually a 1981 box when it says Lesney Products PLC. So it was Lesney Products Limited, Products and Co Limited, and then it became PLC for a very short period of time before they went down the pan. So there's that. We then move on to another time period No, we're going to go backwards again. Sorry about this. This is the Japanese releases that they did in the late 70s. Get some more life out of some old castings. I think they probably did about 8 of these, and they used a number of different castings from the late 60s and early 70s. You can get these on eBay. They cost a bit more than the other ones. I'm just moving the transition point from this style of box to this style of box. This is, talking mid to late 80s, early 90s. One of my more favourite ones from this time period. Nissan 300ZX. Yesteryears, didn't mention them. I used to collect these quite avidly when I was a teenager. Bigger scale. And these are very affordable now. You can pick them up for a couple of quid because, well, people thought they were going to be collectible and they kept them out of the box. They kept them in their lofts, and of course they didn't appreciate in value. But I like them anyway. Skybusters. Sorry, we're going backwards and forwards here, but this is another little period of time. This is a Phantom. I love the illustrations. They really were wonderful works of art. No photographs, no computers, hand drawn, hand painted, wonderful. Talking of which, the work of Roy, trying to remember his name, Roy Cross, I think, who did these illustrations for these plastic kit series that they did. So big I can't get it in. There you are. They moved into this period of producing plastic kits and were very successful. They challenged a market that was dominated by Airfix. And did very well. And a lot of those mouldings are now available through Revel, who bought up the old tooling when the Lesney empire collapsed. And talking of Lesney edition, this was done about 10 years ago. You may have seen them. Not that easy to get hold of. Metal bases, a bit more detail, done by Mattel. So I don't knock Mattel too much. They do try occasionally and do some very nice stuff using illustrational styles and packaging styles from early 70s. Where are we now? Another one that's from a recent time period, one of my favourite ones, the Lotus Evora. Really, really nice model. Really lovely. And yes, hang on, what to do next? Yeah, 60th anniversary. So that was back in 2013. And I think I actually had to buy this off someone. I really wanted it, but overprinting on it. Union flag. Superb. So, yep, 60th anniversary. An opportunity really also to then have a look at what they've done recently. They've brought the boxes back. These are called, I think they're called grab boxes. Were available in home bargain stores in the UK. So not widely available. Asda didn't do them. There's the model from inside. They very much harking back to the 70s with that colour. And another one from more recently from the Globe Travellers series. And the Matchbox GT40. Beautifully done. Matte finish, only presumably so the printing would go on better. Fantastic model. And packaging that you're more familiar with in this day and age. Although long cards don't tend to be available in the UK so much, unless you've got a Poundland. I like this model because it's just nicely done. And I'm really going to finish off with something that you've probably been looking at all the way through the video thinking, how did he get hold of that? I wrote an article for Model Collector magazine here in the UK, which will be coming out in the middle of June. So this is the July issue. It's an interview with Abe Lugo, the head of design at the Matchbox brand. He produced some badges, a small volume of. He very kindly put a few into the box he sent to me with the competition prizes for the article, for the interview in the magazine. Okay, so you may have seen that already, depending on when this video is actually knocked out. And here is one of these famous chase models that they've done of the Plymouth Barracuda. Only available in Target stores as a chase model. Caused a lot of discussion, this one, about availability, I feel very honoured to have one of these, and 2 more of them were available in the Model Collector magazine competition, so there are opportunities to get hold of it. But a very treasured object, that one. That's really it. As I pull back here, a little more of it, and there's my cup of tea, Mr. Crumpy. Yeah, I like Matchbox, and happy 65th anniversary, guys. Keep on producing nice models and keep them special. Cheers.
So here it is, the 50-year celebration taxi in all its glory. And I thought I'd finish up my little exploration of this casting with a look at where it went in the future. So this is from 2002, as you know. It has opening doors. There we go. And the casting itself dated back to 1986. And if you look behind you, you can see all the different variations I've managed to collect of the 86 piece, which came in 1/60 scale. Now, Mattel, in all their wisdom, decided to recast this model. It's probably because it's an expensive piece, metal base, a 1/60 scale metal body with opening doors. And so in 2004-2005, they introduced a recasting of the famous London taxi. I'm not sure if this is the actual piece from that time. It is all in black. I've got a feeling the number plate here tells us from when it's from. I'd say it was from 2012, judging by that, and I'm not sure what the 49 is designating. The oldest piece I've got of that particular recast is this. Again, it's no opening doors, plastic base. This is the super fast version, sent to me from Canada by Monsieur Diecast, who very kindly realised that I collected these taxis. And again, this piece is very hard to find, and look, the number on there is number 69. A quick look around the back. It's all in French, more or less. Well, multitude of languages. Is there a little bit of English in the middle there? But it does say 2005 on there somewhere. Very nice piece, actually. If you look, it's absolutely fantastically decaled up. And I also have the Best of British version from slightly later, from 2007. And this is in a kind of gunmetal grey. Again, fully tampoed up. I will be releasing these pieces at some point, but for now, they're just amazing in their boxes. And remember the date on the old box there? Oh yeah, 1952 to 2002. Well, when this piece came out, the commemorative edition from 2013, Mattel obviously realised the deliberate mistake that they'd made in previous times and gave us a 1953 start update, which is great. A little bit of history there. Let's take a look at this FX. Possibly one of the nicest ones I've got. I love this piece. Again, fully tampoed up as compared to its mainline. No, well, not really. The mainline version isn't too bad. But of course we have the addition of lots and lots of lovely flyers and stickers. So there you go. And that's why I collect taxis. Gives you a brief history of any casting. If you collect all of the models from all the various years and incarnations, you get a good little potted die-cast history. Of course, no opening doors on the new version, and being 1/60 scale, it is a little bit smaller, but they still work well together. Still nice to have. I do like the decals on the 60 year as opposed to the 50, but there you go. It is what it is.
Hi there, it's a little additional bits to chuck in. When I did my little Matchbox 65 years insert, I was hoping to find this, and I couldn't, and it's turned up. So this is a early mid-1950s Matchbox casting of a Bedford removals lorry. Okay, and I picked this up in Bexhill-on-Sea for not a lot of money. It's got metal wheels. This is my oldest Matchbox model. I do not have any others with metal wheels. So I think I explained in the video that they went from having metal wheels to grey plastic. The grey plastic was imitating effectively the metal wheels, so there wasn't not too much of a noticeable transition. And as you move along things change. So a lovely little model this. That tailgate doesn't come down. Maybe it does, I'm just not aware of how it does. But as you can see, you've got a... Maybe it does. Who knows? Anyway, that on the real thing would have a piece of tarpaulin that would come down, a piece of sheeting. But as far as I'm aware, that's all complete. Nice solid little model. It's lasted extremely well, considering the fact that it is now, I don't know, 60 years old at least. Decals need to be redone at some point, but I think I'll leave it as it is. It's original. My oldest Matchbox toy, in terms of, not the one that I've had the longest, but certainly in terms of overall age. Interesting comparison to make here with this one, which is a sort of generic removals lorry, which is, I think, a 2000 and... what is that? 2008, so it's 10 years old. This was reissued not that long ago, came in an orange one which said Matchbox removals. I can't find it at the moment, but there you can see a direct lineage. And in the background is a bit of an advert for myself and Model Collector magazine, because I did an interview with this man, Abe Lugo, who is the head of design of Matchbox brand. Got a competition going as well. I would open it up. That would defeat the object of you know, the magazine wanting to sell copies of it. So this is the July issue, which has been on the shelf since let me see, the middle of June. So whenever this video is going out, if you managed to get hold of a copy of it, well done. If you didn't, sorry, but it's been and gone perhaps. So yeah, it's a good read. If you like die casts, then it's really one of the better ones to get. There's only really two. There's the article. Okay, you might have missed it. There you go. Quick. So, ta-ta for now, and sorry for the handheld nature of the film, and over to Chris.
Wow, thanks very much, Mark Raven, for your amazing encapsulation of the 65 years of Matchbox. And I'm going to finish up with some new Matchbox that I've just discovered recently. I'm not sure of the case code on these, but if you go and check Paul Wooten out, he's got them on his channel, and I was really surprised to find them in Asda, and yeah, Asda does charge for them, so I didn't get all of the new castings. I just bought the ones that I needed for my collection. I'm going to open up them and go through them slowly. So this is the Mazda CX-5. Quite a nice looking piece, actually. Let's check it out. Okay, nice. There we go, that's how you open a Matchbox. All right, wow. I do like the blue glass. Everyone's been slanting it and saying, oh, I don't like the blue glass, but I actually like a bit of blue glass in my cars. And doesn't it look gorgeous for a Mazda? Another little SUV, presumably. Very, very popular and fashionable right now, these SUVs. Probably sit quite nicely with that little Mercedes, actually. This one actually does look really good. A very good representation of it. Nice details around the rear. As usual, Matchbox putting in the tail lamps very nicely, and the headlamps. That's all you need. A lovely little street car. About SUVs, this is the Cadillac Escalade. I didn't know this was actually in the mix, and I don't think I've got one of these in my collection. I'm not sure whether it's a brand new casting or not. Let's have a look at the base. Oh, it is pretty new, 2017. It's been around for a few years though, the 15 Cadillac. But there we go. Another very nice piece. This has actually got a separate chrome plastic grille on the front, which is rather special. Not something you see too often. I mean, obviously you see the plastic grills as part of the base, but in this case it does look separate. I might be mistaken. No, that's definitely separate. Goodness knows, someone at Matchbox has been going around plugging those in. This one actually looks like it's had a few construction issues. As you know, lately the Matchbox are putting in the post so it connects to the roof. And this one actually has the scale, 164. And if you look around the back here, this one looks like it probably used to clip in to the tailgate. And they've filled it in, and they've put a post in the top there, hence possibly the slowness of release for this piece. Ooh, this is the one everybody's been looking for. So let's have a look at this. There's a couple in the case. I picked them both up, and I'm sending one off to Mark to play with as well. But for now, I've got myself this lovely little Fairlane. There we go, the 1964 Ford Fairlane. Beautiful thing. Oh, look at that. Fully chromed up around the rear. And this is what I'm talking about. Normally the chrome is actually part of the base. This is very nicely done, actually. Very nice. It's even got a nice dark interior. The wheels look good. Everything is just good. No tampos at the rear or the front. Instead, they've concentrated on giving us some nice lines at the side. Overall, a pretty nice little piece. Very good. I collect this kind of nonsense. It's the drill digger, and I'm getting it because it's in the right colours. It's in the colours of the National Park. There it is, number 7. Pretty good. Let's get her out. Oh yeah, this is a fun little thing. I was kind of hoping this drill bit would go further down, actually, because it is supposed to obviously drill holes for, well, one would imagine planting trees or something. Although most trees, don't they grow from a seed? Anyway, that's what it's for, but it stops there. And it goes up to there. That's not too bad. It's the downward thrust I would have preferred, but anyway. Oh well, so it probably goes quite quickly. I'm just trying to imagine how it would drill a hole. Come on, man. This bit spins though. It's like a bottle opener. Good stuff. There we go. That's my new Matchbox. Everybody, just another reminder, try and get hold of this magazine if you can, if you're in the UK or anywhere in the distribution area for this magazine, because it has got a competition that enables you to win some really cool goodies. And plus it's also got that interview that has been done by Mark with Abe Lugo. And further information about Matchboxes, yes, it's that time of the year again when you've got to put together one of your customs. If you've got something already made or something that you want to build, especially for the competition, then now is the time. Basically, you go onto Instagram and you send a picture of your customization, and then they judge it. And I think there's like 12 winners or something go through to a final, and there you go, and you get a chance to win something. Well, there you go. There's the K5 custom of the day. This is called the VW tank, Eliza. It's even got moving parts. Ta-ta for now.